Oh my gosh, Magician fans, we are back. Season 2, Episode 1, Night of Crowns, and we have a couple special guests. Stay tuned.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AFTERBUZZ TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Time for that epic music. Yes.
This shit is
There
hit the
it
fan
goes.
music. It's all over music.
Yes. Oh my
It's
gosh.
very serious.
Guys, we are back.
Yes.
Magicians, Season 2, Episode 1. We're going to go around the table and then we'll let you know about our guests. My name is Kari Lane. You can find me online at Kari D Lane. And if you're watching this live, join us in the chat. If you're watching it later, comment down below. What do you think of this awesome episode?
Yes, please hit us up in the iTunes with the 5 stars. We'll give you a shout out. I'm
Yes.
Joelle Monique. You can find me all over the internet at Joelle Monique.
You got it around the table.
My name's Ty Matthews. Y'all can find me on social media at Ty Matthews PMA.
I'm Adrian Snow. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Miss Adrian Snow, and that's MSADR. It's
There you
late.
go.
We're
I'm
just
tired.
that excited.
Got it.
though. Come on.
Nailed it in one.
And give a special welcome to our guest. Woo! So why don't you say your name and what character you play in the show?
I'm Rizwan Manji, and I play Tick Pickwick.
I'm Sergio Osuna, and I play Rave, because you haven't seen me yet.
Yeah, your character's a little bit later.
Yes.
So we'll just talk a little bit about your character right now, Rizwan. So first, how did you get involved with this series?
Okay.
And had you read it or seen season 1 or anything, other involvement with it?
So I have 3 children, so I had not seen any of the Magicians.
Fair.
And I got just sides. Everybody knows what the sides are, I guess,
Yeah.
here, where you get a few pages of the script. And for Tick, because he just sort of appears in the first episode, you see him in 2 brief scenes. So we had those scenes, and we had scenes from episode 4 and episode 5 where there was more stuff happening. And I honestly was like, this is very interesting, but I had no idea what was going on. And I guess I went in and I met some of the producers and the casting director, and I read, and they said, this was the note I got. Can you read it again and not make us feel like you want everybody to die?
Oh no! Whoa.
It's a very specific.
It was like, no, like, I think I'd come across like, oh, I just was like, I secretly, wanted everybody to
Very
be
sinister.
because I
Very
had no idea.
nefarious.
Because I had no idea,
Yeah.
right?
Sure.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, this is what this means.
Yes.
And so then I did it again, and I said, oh, I'm never getting this far.
Right? That's how it was.
And then lo and behold.
Oh, wow.
It's quite a bit more whimsical than that, it seems like.
They were like, oh, I like that choice. Completely wrong, but like, come on. He went with it.
It was a bump road.
Yeah.
Sure.
Now, had you had a chance to watch season 1 then before you started filming, or
because it was very quickly.
Quick
So
turnaround?
yeah, so I didn't, and we actually did one of first day I was on set because have you guys seen? Did we see the throne room?
Yes.
Yes.
We did. I was like, what am I saying? I have to be very careful.
Yeah.
Now that I've said it. So the throne room was there, and we had they had press. They have press on set that day. Like, oh, Tick Pickwick's here. Let's do a. They started asking me questions. I had absolutely no idea what was going on.
Oh no.
And then I just asked the woman who was doing the interview. I said, "Can you just tell me what's going on?" And I'll just repeat it after. She said she would literally like, "Tick Pickwick is doing that." And I'm like, "Oh, my character does this." It was just like repeating the stuff. But anyway,
Adorable.
so that's how. That's probably really bad that I'm saying all
Oh
this.
no,
But
there's
now I'm
a
like really
whole lot
excited.
of context up to this point. Like, it's pretty in the weeds.
Yeah. It's a pretty dense and layered show that we're all fans of, obviously.
And also hard. I realized afterwards. I thought, oh, I was like, it's initially you're like, oh, it's like Harry Potter. And I could watch it with my kids. No, you cannot watch it.
No.
I realized.
Yeah.
Not at all.
Yes.
Not at all.
Did you realize in the process, or were you like, oh?
No, I realized it that day because my scene was right after an orgy scene.
Okay.
Sure.
And
that
I was
way.
like, wait, what? There's a what?
And like graphic even as far as orgy scenes go. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me just clear it up for everybody. I am in no orgy scenes. In case anybody is concerned, are you in any orgy scenes?
I was very excited about it, but no, I'm not
You know what I mean?
actively. No, I'm not.
So yeah, in case anyone was concerned.
Did you guys have any other specific questions?
Well, it's one of the things that struck me about this episode, especially and just kind of about the show in general, is that it strikes both kind of the high notes and the low notes. There's a lot of comic relief, and then there's also a whole lot of darkness. And it seems like kind of the Tick Pickwick character is one of the higher points of the comic relief.
Yeah.
Like if you were to compare it to another role that you've played in the past, was there anything kind of similar, like headspace wise?
It is different from anything else that I've done. However, if you're asking me about similarity,
Sure.
I don't know if you guys watch a show called Outsourced, where I played the assistant manager in India to this guy. There's a little bit of that sort of thing with Hale's character throughout the season, just because he is the king, and I am, the royal advisor. So there is this. Could I be backstabbing him? Could I, still pretending like I'm trying to help everybody.
Right.
And my choice, which was like, I want everybody to die. But so there's a little bit of that that similarity with that character.
Absolutely, yeah.
So
I'm rambling, but I hope everybody's.
No?
I
it
do.
makes
English
sense.
is my first language. In case anybody was concerned.
No, get out of here. Well, I have a question. Since we don't want to like reveal too much about your characters and we're just in the first episode, can you guys talk a little about what the atmosphere on set is like? And then also, are there any pranksters?
Pranksters?
Yes.
Not that I never got pranked, which I'm happy about that. But no, I don't think there's any pranksters. There's this sort of the environment on set is very, very nice and very good. Everybody gets along, and I know that everybody says this whenever they're working on a show, but this
I
is
hate
literally
him, actually. By the way.
Total lie.
now that we're
that's not
open
even
about
a joke.
that.
That's what you were channeling when you gave that first take.
Yeah.
You guys will see that. But no, everybody gets along, and everybody is extremely nice. So I think that because of where we work and the world that our characters are involved in is so outside of the real world, it helps to be nice and helps to be normal, I guess, to each other in that way.
I don't know what set he was on.
Riz, what was your set experience?
Yeah, I'd like to know.
I
I'd like
love
to know.
everybody.
Now, what about your experience? How did you get involved with the show, and were you familiar with it prior?
I wasn't until I got the audition, and then I binge watched the entire first season. And I thought that at the beginning, I thought that okay, this is like you. I thought that this is a magician show. This is fun and fantasy. And then very quickly, I found out that it wasn't like.
Yeah.
And then I really got into it.
Nice.
So when I went into the first audition, I knew a little bit about it and the tone of it. And it was just like a normal audition for it, and it was fun because I don't know if you know this, but for the audition, I read for your part, even though you had.
Oh
No, he'd been casted for it.
You didn't make the choice,
so
and you wanted everyone to die,
Oh.
and that's why.
Anyways, you've already been casted, so calm down. So he'd be casted, so it was done. You already shot the show, probably. Anyway, so I read for his part, and I read for a bunch of parts too, because that was just the way that it was set
up.
the audition, and. But no, then they narrow it down, I guess. For
He has a really.
Oh, okay.
I don't think we can actually say what specifically he's doing, but he has a really fun role. Like it's you'll love it because
Look
it's a
forward
really
to
interesting
it.
and
Yeah.
animals are involved.
That's always
Like,
suspect
often
on the
are.
magicians. You don't really want to be.
Right.
I
That
mean,
could be
Animals.
some
Animals don't have a good reputation in the magicians. Just going off of season 1, it's rough. It's rough.
And this is a question for both of you. What was it like coming into this? I mean, you already talked about what it was like on set, but what was it like coming in to work with these other actors that have already been working together as a team for a whole season? And I mean, you meet them at the castle and everything like that, and we don't know yet about yours, but if you want to elaborate a little bit.
For me, very weirdly and interestingly, I played Summer Bishel's dad on a show called Lucky 7 that lasted not very long, not a very big life. But so when I came onto the show, and a lot of my scenes are with Summer and Hale. A lot of all our scenes are with Summer and Hale. So it felt like, because I already knew her and we already had this relationship, and so it was. I think that's why there was a lot of camaraderie there, because
Nice.
we had already worked. I'm spilling.
Oh boy.
I just came from the premiere party, so I am really kind of
Yeah,
raw.
you did.
But yeah, now I'm all wet. But anyway, that's what I was gonna say. Was I knew her, so there was a
Okay,
little bit
cool.
of camaraderie.
And
You?
And for me, I knew, I think one of the lighting people, and that's about it.
Yeah,
But
get
so-
that in.
So
Get
Yeah.
that in somehow.
That's
That's
something.
something.
But everybody was so welcoming and nice, and
cool.
yeah, it felt like I've been there for a long time.
Awesome.
Now, was this both of your first foray into doing sci-fi in terms of like dealing with stuff that's not there and finger tutting and do either one of you have to finger tut? Like, well, if you can't tell, then it's
We
fine.
don't get to do it. We didn't get to do a lot of our characters didn't get to do magic. We were around a lot of the magic. But the only other sci-fi, I did a sci-fi movie called Equals. So that was my only but other than that, yeah, this was more in the like fantastical realm. It's really cool. It's also really interesting to see how what we were doing ends up.
Yeah, on
What
screen.
you see,
Yeah.
it's very different. Like, it's very shocking because when you do it for, it's not the same as what you end up seeing. So it is. There's a lot of other stuff involved that it's kind of crazy.
Yeah, no, I've never been on a sci-fi show before. I've had some sort of I don't know what you call it, but I've had to interact with fairies before, like little dots of light
Yeah.
for a commercial,
Yeah.
which was a little bit nerve-wracking, but it was good. It was fun. But not with this. No, I think we dealt with just real characters in real life and real people. Yeah.
Yeah. Did they have a lot more of the practical effects? Because that was something we noticed in season 1, that they tried to make everything as practical as possible, and that CGI was kind of like used sparingly. Was that something that you saw this season, or no?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
At least for us, I think.
Yeah,
I think
for
it
our
was,
stuff.
it was like
It
that.
was like that. Cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. Any other questions, guys?
Now I'm ready to dive in.
We're gonna
I'm
dive
excited
into the
about this
episode. You get to hear us chat about the episode. So,
Tick Pick was amazing.
oh, he's amazing. We will get to that
Amazing.
too. Yeah, that character. How much did you guys like that it picks up right where it left off?
So much.
I was so relieved.
I feel like it
Thank
had
goodness.
to. It had to pick
I
up
was,
right there.
I was actually concerned for a moment that we weren't picking up. I'm like, wait, he's in the forest and she's alive. We missed things.
If it was gonna
Don't do
jump
this to
forward
me.
like 6 months, hell no.
Well, yeah.
No one wants that.
Yeah. And then something I noticed, and you can find him. Oh, I tweeted it. I don't remember his name right now. Cinematographer was absolutely gorgeous. Did you guys think how beautiful this episode looked? Like so
Absolutely.
many shots. I just was like, so go check it out on Instagram. I'll probably leave a comment on this video. But the cinematographer did a whole post on his Instagram account about how they did different lenses to convey different looks and feels for Fillory, and I think you can tell because it has a completely, different tone than like
It is definitely
our world.
whimsical as compared to the very like brick and mortar kind of stoic look we
Yes.
get in the real world.
Julia.
And especially, yeah, the scenes with Martin and Julia, it's blue, but in kind of a very drab sort of
Yes.
way, very, very grounded.
yes.
I've kind of always did that for Julia, though. It's
Exactly.
always been like more blue, gray tones. And then
Yeah.
when you go to Break Bills, it's kind of like warmer yellow tones. I can't believe that I'm even able to say this. I don't usually pick up on that kind of stuff. But
well, this show does a really good job
yeah,
of making
they
it
do.
distinct.
Mhm.
Yeah. And then what do you guys think of the Hansel and Gretel house?
Instantly, I was like, why does anyone trust anyone here? I was mad at there's not one person I wasn't angry with by the end of this episode. I'm like, you all are stupid. You trust no one. You fools. How are you going to be king and queen? I'm just concerned.
Just a naturalist.
That's something that did come up more than once. I'm like, I wonder if this is like advice for later of their journey of don't
We'll see. It's
trust
foreshadowing.
people.
Going back to Riz's first take, it's all foreshadowing. Everyone wants everyone to die at a certain point on a long enough timeline.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
And we have, thank God, in more than one way than one, because Alice is still God-powered and fixes everyone, which we kind of covered. So that was
So
great.
awesome.
And
God-powered, juiced
with-
up.
Yes.
Ugh.
Now, did anybody
Wordplay.
else think when the Hansel and Gretel witch came over that she could have helped another way? He's like, well, I don't need you anymore. I'm like, maybe they could have done something else. Like, hey, can you tell me where something is at least? Directions?
I just thought it was foolish that he asked for his blood back. I'm like, that's not how
That's not how it
exchanges.
works.
No.
Even if she said yes, what are you going to do with a vial of your
blood?
blood?
Yes.
You wear it as a necklace. I mean,
Just want Angelina, give it to your lover. Just like
Angelina
wearing it
Jolie.
around your neck.
But no, I thought it was weird that he didn't go, well, can you reattach Penny's hands? Like, because he was walking around. I think the
Oh,
weirdest
yeah,
thing
you
for
could have
me
done something.
is
Yeah.
the first 20 minutes of the episode, really. It's just Penny being mute
Oh.
and walking around with his hands. And I was like,
I thought Alice
That
fixed
wire?
him for a second,
Yeah.
and then I'm like, wait,
I was
no.
wondering about that, but no, she just
She
did
just
some magical
cauterized them.
cauterization.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, the witch's quote is, "You're an fillery magician. Be careful with strangers. We only look whimsical." And I'm like, ooh, that's foreshadowing if there's anything, right?
And even that, like, she looked pretty shady.
yeah.
She did.
I
She was
wouldn't
like,
even.
she was like, the house is mostly made of wood. I'm like, this doesn't negate the story. Though.
Yeah.
Like, this fact doesn't change what we know.
You're not arguing
Yeah.
the witch part.
Are you cooking children in there? I need to know. I'm concerned.
Then we have that kind of like circle board device thing.
So cool.
To open the wellspring.
Yes.
And I love Margot's line, swallowing has its privileges.
Margot.
You knew that was gonna
Margot
come
had
back.
so many good lines.
Margot was on fire this episode.
Oh,
Well,
yes.
Christopher Rommel in the chat says, and the blood she took will come into play down the road. Again, more foreshadowing. Absolutely, Christopher.
Sure.
I'm
Yes.
definitely going to see it.
We
Chekhov's
have
blood.
the Alice finds that missing piece and puts it in there, and then the wellspring. But there's obviously some issues, so they don't want to use it. And I liked what about the meta moment of Margot's lines and talking about. She's like, "Our squad is a joke," and she says, "We're the characters who would die in season 1, and even we're the comic relief." And you're just like,
She might
"Oh,
as
the
well look
writing
right at the
Woo!
camera.
Yes.
Because we caught that in season 1 where they nod to her being named. Is it Janet in the
Yes.
In the
books?
books.
They're like, well, and another.
love getting very
Yeah.
very very meta.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I did a little bit of reading and read most of the first book, The Magicians, which is broken up into mini books. And yeah, guys, we're totally, completely other paths. So this is a review show for the show.
Yeah.
We will comment about the book maybe here and there, but it's about the show because
I
it's
just-
so different.
I want everyone to know that I know I ended last season saying that I was going to read the books over the summer, and I totally lied to you.
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah. Same here.
I tried
Sorry,
really
guys.
hard. I got far, but enough
Maybe
to
someday
know.
I'll get there.
It's okay, guys. It's one of those. It's a completely like. It's so different. It's not even comparable.
Sure.
There's maybe
Yeah.
moments
Really?
and things. Oh my gosh.
Now I'm
I mean, a couple of you are
endlessly
talking.
curious.
Well, that's what's great about it is if you guys love the show, go read the books, and it'll be like, don't think like, hey, this is going to happen. It's just like,
Yeah.
Is
Different.
it tonality-wise the same, though?
yes.
Okay, that's the only question I have.
Well, now here's.
Characters are different though too. Penny's a different character.
Oh, right. Here's what I was wondering.
Katie's not in it.
Are there as many 90s pop culture references in the book?
Swayze!
Because
Some I didn't. It
that
didn't
was
notice as
phenomenal.
much.
And I
Oh.
wanted to ask you guys if you got a chance to see this episode. Did you guys both get a chance?
So we.
See, that's the first question.
What had
Well,
happened
here's the
was
thing.
What happened?
We
At
we
the
went to the
party.
premiere party and we were expecting to see it,
Yeah.
and it was playing, but it was just so loud.
Right,
They didn't
exactly.
put subtitles
And, like,
on?
No, it
Most of
didn't
the
have
people had seen it
subtitles.
already,
Wrong.
like, because they had got,
Yeah.
they had, a
So
lot of
it's
these people,
really-
the
yeah.
writers, all these
Yeah.
guys had seen it already, so they were just being louder. We're like, we're trying to see this.
Yeah. It was in the room.
I just saw my name appear, and I'm like, I'm in it.
There you
That's
go.
good.
Well, then
got it.
I'm sorry, we'll be semi-spoiling
You
things
are
for
spoiling
you.
it.
Was
But-
there anything that jumped out to you visually, not being able to hear it?
Yes.
You know, honestly, because I was honest with you
Yeah.
about what I had seen, it looks beautiful. Like it just that is the one thing, and it is fun to watch it even without being able to hear it. 'Cause
Yeah.
Sure.
It's so gorgeous.
I feel like we say this a lot, but like 5 years ago, this show could never have been on Syfy. And the stuff they've done, just the stuff the network has done to like,
Sure.
It would still be Eureka, which I love, and I'm totally
No,
cool with. But it would
Eureka's
still be that
great.
style.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But now we've got this, and I'm just like, oh, this is great. I can just live in this show.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, that first establishing shot of the Rainbow Bridge, just that kind of
Yeah.
sweeping, like
so
panorama.
beautiful.
Yeah.
And the woods when Quentin's running through the woods even is
it's
beautiful.
goddamn magical for it.
So quick jump to, we have Julia is with the Beast. How much do you guys trust him?
Not at all.
Well, see, I think that's the rub. I think we can trust him a little bit. More so than maybe some of the people we trust now.
You think Martin is being 100% honest with her?
He didn't say 100%.
I'm not 100%.
I'm trying to clarify.
Let's not go too crazy.
Where on the meter of trust do we place
I'm
Martin?
I'm thinking what we're seeing now is putting him at like a 10. I'm thinking he might be around like a 40.
Okay, so what's interesting to me about this team up is that we talked about last season how like the rape within the story, the sexual violence is disturbing, and it was seemingly came out of nowhere. Like I was bowled over by it. And so to pick it up here with these two who have suffered the same trauma and putting them together to look at thematically how different people deal with that trauma.
Yes.
I was like, thank you for making it like mean something. Like thank you for making it matter that this is in the story.
I will say they've even though I definitely bristled a bit last season.
Sure, absolutely.
The way that they handle sexual violence on the show has been better than most.
Yes.
So they have an actual dialogue and conversation about it from the victim's perspective, not just from the rapist or other people around the victim, which I appreciated.
Sure.
Yeah, and so to see them paired up is interesting, and I do think that to some degree Martin is like, oh, this girl's interesting. Like, she's powerful as hell, and we know he's already obsessed with power. He's willing to drain Fillory, which we know from previews could kill magic,
Right.
Yeah.
which is the thing he kind of relies on to exist. Which, I mean, is he destroying himself?
Well,
it's
it's
like a
also-
downward spiral of crazy.
They also kind of toy with the cycle of abuse with the
They
beast
do.
in terms
Yeah.
of them going to, like, I'm old, I'm about to say leaps and bounds because I don't know what it's called anymore. Discovery Zone, whatever.
Yeah.
Sorry,
That's what it
throwbacks.
became. And he's kind of just like leering at the children. It's like, oh, like they're actually going to touch on cycle of abuse. Like if you've been abused, will you in turn distribute the same type of abuse?
He
So I
asked her to
appreciate
drop
that.
him off at a park.
That
Yeah.
line was
Was so
absolutely
real.
And he's
chilling.
like, it's totally innocent. And you're like,
I don't like it, Martin.
No, yeah,
I don't like it. Although somebody, Renji90998 says, I kind of like the Beast just because I saw him watch Rick and Morty. And you know what?
That's exactly right.
It endeared me a little to him. I was like, well, if you like Rick and Morty, I just hope that
Can't be
you
all
can
that
be.
bad.
I don't know then. Then what does it say about people that like Rick and Morty? Like,
We're not sane. We're not, look who created Rick and Morty. Like, we're not all
It's a
in
good
good
point.
places,
It was a
okay?
good point.
Just like the show.
jumping ahead kind of to where they fall in their conversation with Julie and the Beast, and how he kind of asks, why were you spared? And he just has that discussion. There's two kinds of people in the world. You're powerful or you're weak. And yeah, I think the show does an excellent job of looking at how one adjusts to what happens when you have had trauma and like what your response is. We'll hold on them and then we can come back because they have a lot going on. But we'll kind of chronologically-ish because they did a good. It's only two storylines really. It's
Right.
back
Yeah,
and forth.
back and forth.
So we have our squad, which I like that. We have Elliot's wife Fen, who man, that girl, I feel for her because she's so nice.
That
She's
girl's gonna be
trying
fine. That girl got everything. She is married to the king.
Yeah,
She
but
just
I know
never
that-
has to sleep with him, which is just like bonuses. Like
No, they
she-
had to consummate on the first night.
They had to do the one thing, and maybe she'll be like, it's just gonna be like a marriage of really great convenience. Like she's nice,
you guys
he's
are
gonna
in for
treat
it.
her good. Oh no, that scares
She's-
me.
It's fine.
Oh.
There's gonna be some fun. I'm not saying anything.
I was just having, I was like, because I'm over here being like,
Did you
she's
see us?
gonna die.
Oh, they don't know.
Perfect.
So they find out that they need to go to the armory, but the armory's just books. But they can get spells, as magicians know. Magic is in a book. It's all good. We can do it. Got to go to Castle Whitespire. And then Margot and Penny go on their own little journey to go to the Healing River. And what do you guys think of Alice's little barometer, the piece of the puzzle thing? And he's like, Quinzel, what is that for? And she's like, it's a barometer. Pretty much let her know when her powers have drained away. That was
Everyone's
smart.
very, very wary. I mean, even
So smart.
even Martin,
Wary
even
enough.
the Beast, when he's making his deal with Julie, he's like, "You think I missed all those loopholes?
Yeah.
Putting the dagger down, like
I was
Yes.
so proud
I
of
got
her.
you."
I'm glad that the show didn't make it that easy, and at the same time, I was like, no!
Yeah.
She did it right. Why, God?
No, I do have a quick question. A couple people brought up in the chat. I'm not quite sure how we'd address it, but people are saying, what about the different timelines for Julia and the Beast, of how he knows her and what she's gone through? Would he know what other traumas she's been through or not been through?
Yeah.
Well,
People
okay,
are
so
like,
there was
talking
a
about-
time loop.
Existential.
Okay,
Yeah.
so we know there was a time loop, but the time loop ended when
yes,
Jane
okay.
died.
Yeah.
My brain had to.
And Jane remembered, and head of the school remembered.
Nadine, yeah.
But do we ever know if Martin?
Martin
recalls?
might not know. Well, no, he said Quentin, this happens every time.
Oh, he does. He does.
He does know.
So yes, I do believe he could be know her better than she
Yes.
knows him for sure.
So,
For sure.
Oh,
I don't know if they're gonna touch-
Yeah.
I'm saying I can't
man.
trust Martin. Like,
He's
guy.
omniscient.
And when his
Right?
first instinct is to kill a part of her, like his first instinct is like, I just
Get
reach
rid of your
inside of your
shade.
heart and just crush that. Like, I'm like, this seems real
You don't need
suspect.
that shade.
And the only reason I think we can trust him, even the
love how they
10%
call
that
it
you
shade.
give him, is because he put it back.
Sorry, did you say you don't like that they call it shade?
No, I said I love how they called it
Oh,
shade.
yes.
Latino shade and pink lemonade. Go on.
Just catchphrases abound.
You got it. Yeah.
So moving through, we have Alice and Quentin, and they're kind of like rebonding a little bit too.
We're not going to get back
A little bit
together.
later.
Don't lie to yourself like that. That's just not fair to
As
you.
soon as you
But
say
are
that,
they-
you're already casting down.
Never ever getting back together.
You got it.
Well,
I
it's another
did it.
Taylor
Comes back.
Swift.
I did it.
The one recurring theme
Sarah,
in
throw it
season
back.
1 was Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
I like whoever in the chat is suggesting that Barry Allen come and try to make things better. You're awesome,
There
and I
you
love
go.
you forever. I don't know who it was,
Yeah.
but that's
There you go.
great.
Then they gotta go to do a coronation because they're like, well, nobody recognizes this king and queen, so we gotta do that. Go to the
Just
Rainbow
like
Bridge.
the collective eye roll that happened when
Like-
Quentin suggested the coronation was one of my absolute favorite moments.
It was so cute, and then it
When
really
they're
proved
there?
what Quentin is like to the team. Like
Right.
you are
Yes,
like the
yes.
heart and sort of the memory of the team. To be
Yes.
like, guys, this is kind of a monumental moment, and I know it's corny, but
they
like
all like
we should
it.
have no.
Yeah.
And then the
I
title.
think Penny's the only one that's just like,
He's
come
like, screw
on.
it.
Penny still is just trying to deal with his hands. Like
Yeah.
Penny's got a lot on his plate. But I liked what the names they gave each other. So Elliot's the High King.
He's the Spectacular.
Spectacular.
Yep.
Margot's the High Queen, the Destroyer. High
Yep.
Queen the Destroyer.
That was awesome.
Queen
Yeah.
Alice the Wise, which
Yep.
Avi, and Queen the Moderately Socially Adjusted, which is
Yes.
my favorite. Thank you, Margot.
That's pretty incredible.
That was probably one of my favorite bits in the episode as
Absolutely.
well.
And
The
those
guard.
crowns. Wait, I'm so sorry. The design of the crowns is
Oh,
spectacular. They're so good. I like that
And
they
such
don't
good
look.
variety. Yeah.
Yeah, they're not typical.
They have the guard at the water, who's the Knight of Crowns, thus the title of the episode. And he's like, "Oh, I must have died while I was waiting for
Brilliant.
This whole sequence
you."
is already setting a high bar for this season
Yeah.
for
Oh, yes.
me.
And Patrick Swayze, everybody brought that up. I was
Like,
dying. He's like, "Do you know Patrick
The
Swayze?"
fact that the Knight of Crowns is quizzing them on 90s pop culture.
Yes.
I knew every single thing. I knew every
Oh,
single
I'm
answer.
sure
I was
you
like,
did.
Yes.
Oh, Dirty Dancing.
Yes.
Roundhouse?
That was great. I like that they all noticed.
Not
They're like,
Roundhouse,
"Wait, this is
Roadhouse.
90s."
Roadhouse. There you
They're like,
go.
"This is
I
90s
like
pop
Roundhouse.
culture."
But I guess it's a really nice blending of classical, like English literature, where you have the knight and he's like
Yeah.
guards the bridge or whatever, tells you which way to go.
Right.
Or
May
it gives you
approve
the
your
thing.
children of Earth.
It's the
Yeah.
guy, from Indiana Jones and the Holy Grail.
Yeah,
That's-
Exactly.
It
I
was
was
that
going more
guy.
Monty Python, like just
Sure.
a scratch.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
Sure.
but to combine that with like modern day 90s style trivia, like a
Oh.
trivia night kind
Like, it
of
was
thing.
big- trivia night.
Just
You
love
have
these
something
people.
to look
These
forward
writers are
to,
great.
guys. There's a Patrick Swayze reference, and it's just like dying. It was so good.
I was really afraid we were going to
Wilson
interrupt another
Phillips,
show.
Yeah.
Wings,
Oh,
Yeah,
it's
all
Wings.
sweet.
sorts, all sorts
Yep.
of 90s. Right?
Wings just doesn't get enough
And I
credit.
just like how they
know?
chime in, how like the girls knew an answer right away. Quentin is like, "I know the answer."
The fact that he gave them the one hint, Beach Boys.
Yeah.
Oh, Patrick asked a good question.
Patrick Swayze.
Yes.
Do we think, no,
soon.
Patrick Nelson, just wanted to ask, how do you all think the timelines are going to work? Do we think that when they go from Earth back to Fillory, there's going to be a
Oh,
They're
change?
gonna be in a
Well,
different timeline or something?
timeline. No, well, it'd be okay. I know what they mean. Pause on that because we'll get to that.
We'll get back to your question, Patrick.
But yes, that is something that we have to talk about. We have Julia. Julia tracking down. Back to Julia. We have Julia tracking down Renard the Fox of the crime scenes. That was nuts, right? That this is happening. I mean, I'm not really surprised it happens multiple times, but like that's a good way to track him, right? It's like taking cards,
via Twitter.
police scanners. Birds know how to tweet.
I just like
that.
the police detective aspects of them together and build. Anytime people want to build relationships in television through like a buddy cop system, I'm about that.
You're
it's
all for it.
great.
That's-
This
you're
part
all
of The
about that
Magicians
on
is a
Incarcerated.
I
procedural
really
now.
like buddy
Yeah.
cops. Like they're the best.
Even Martin was kind of like helping and getting in it too, and he's like, I
No,
figured
he
out
was
it
the smart detective who's antisocial, and she was the one who's going to comfort the victim.
Oh,
Yep.
he's for sure the bad cop.
Detectives.
Yeah,
Freezing the officers on scene.
yeah.
Absolutely.
And then Julia has to go out and get the items, and yeah, that's when he goes, I want to watch the children play. And then the only other fun thing that happened too was the Healing River with the River Watcher. He was very entertaining.
dude's
That
incredible.
guy is going to be quintessential. I'm really looking forward to how his
And-
role plays out.
Penny having to jump in the water nude and do his like fix it up thing.
Hey, Arjun's butt.
Yeah.
It's cute.
We'll have to be like, so Arjun, did you have a body double?
I definitely slipped in his DM to be like, so I saw your butt today. I look forward to his comments back. It's going to be great.
Sliding into DMs.
That's where it goes down. That's how we got him as a guest in season 1.
True.
But
That is how I
obviously,
got him.
Penny is his snarky self, and
And it's about time someone took him down a notch.
oh,
you
it
know what I'm
was.
saying?
And similar thing of advice for the team: be like, this could be a problem later. You don't understand.
How are you gonna go to Chowan's Torrent and sass
Yes.
the
man who helped you.
yeah? What was his
And
position?
he helped them too. It's not like he just watched and didn't say
He
anything.
did say you need to sew these hands back on his body.
It
And
helped.
he did give them the
I
wire.
really
Yes.
think Penny doesn't have control of his hands for a while because I think he's capable of magic beyond, like they were doing when they went and saw the Russian guy up north.
Yeah.
I think he's really capable of doing a lot of magic without his hands, and
Oh,
I think
God,
that
yes.
will be the thing that increases him and moves him
Well,
on to the next
and
point.
that's honestly why I was a little bit disappointed that they got reattached so quickly. I
Well,
thought we were gonna go through a good half this season with a handless Penny.
That
really
was
should
so
have
unfair
Skywalkered
to do
it.
to the actor.
Yeah.
Like, I would
What?
be as
Well,
an actor.
it's almost
pissed.
worse. His hands don't really do what
Yeah.
he wants, so it's its
I
own
don't know.
It's
entertainment.
really hard to.
I was
to
not
deal with
expecting
that.
those hands to get reattached within 20 minutes of episode 1 of season 2. That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
That's fair.
So we have Penny after they've done their coronation thing. He kind of goes off on his own trying to figure. That's when he goes back to go like, hey, whatever. And we have our wonderful other quote by Margot. We got royalty, bitches. So
Yes.
like, oh, that's so great. So you are thinking.
I thought
now-
Quentin said that.
Quentin said it. Oh, sorry. I was like, I just wrote that one. Didn't put a name. Margot had so many good ones.
She
and I was
did.
like,
No,
sure.
Quentin's got to have his, that's going to become a catchphrase.
Go, hey.
Blank bitches is
Yeah.
going to be his catchphrase.
Well-
He's gotten it once a season.
Hashtag
Nice.
royalty bitches. And then we have, so you're saying with Alice and Quentin, you're like, nope, not going to reconcile at all.
No, I'm saying, of course they're going to
They're
reconcile.
absolutely going to.
I was like,
Oh.
she's like, oh, we're never getting back together. I was like, girl, don't play yourself like that.
Oh,
like,
okay,
you
yes,
definitely
I
The,
get
did
back
hear
the
right.
that,
second
yeah.
you say that, yeah.
Well,
That's,
you can't say that and then kiss somebody. Like, it's not how it works.
But what do you
same
think
bet.
of the power experimentation? Finally, right? Of like, he goes, well, you don't know what you can do. This is a perfect safe space to like do whatever.
for some reason, I felt like it was going to be even bigger than that. Like the
I
fact,
did too,
the fact that he
like-
thought the little like Charlie Brown Christmas tree was all she could do. Like, come on, my man.
Well, she did say she's not a she can't do like nature magic.
Right?
So
She's not a naturalist. Right.
So maybe doing anything is.
I was thinking like some straight
I
up
did too. I
like
thought it'd be like,
Giving Tree.
yeah,
You know,
it'd be like crazy.
you got it.
Then we have. Oh yeah, we talked about Julia. So let's talk a little bit about the shade and Julia being tempted to the dark side and how he gives her a taste of what it's like without it. She's like, put it back, put it back.
That scene
Should
was.
she take it?
Oh God,
Would
no, no,
Lose
definitely.
part of your soul and have no more
Here's
pain?
the
I
thing
mean-
that. Go ahead.
But she would be like Zaid from Neverending Story Part 2, and I think Zaid is kind of great.
Interesting.
Like-
More old
These
references.
deep
Yes.
Because I'm
cuts.
You
old.
got it.
These
Um,
deep cuts.
Deep.
But
deep.
It's
yeah,
all good. It's
I
all good.
I just love
Yeah.
that whole idea of
Yeah.
like you can you can accomplish a lot if you are a little heartless.
Sure.
If we're not
No,
learning anything from the current political climate at this point.
Ooh, yeah.
Hot takes. Hot takes.
I've already been banned. I just wanted to.
Yeah.
You know, I'll be right on the boat with you.
Thank you, Josh.
Josh, you're
Yes.
the man.
Best. No, so what's interesting about this is she says she needs it, and Martin is like, okay, I understand. You think you're not going to become yourself, but I think Margot's tapped into something much better, which is that if magic is linked to... I'm so sorry.
Yeah, no worries.
Julia's tapped into something better, which is magic is comes from pain. Is what we've learned throughout the
That's
entire
true. That's very
first
true.
season. It's a major point is like, your pain makes you a better magician. Martin's removed that from himself, and so he's stocked himself full of knowledge, and of course Wellwater, which has helped him achieve like great stuff, but maybe she's stronger with her pain than Martin
So
knows.
his power is like an empty power.
Yeah.
Her power is the real deal.
Interesting.
Well, because he also says that really like gut-wrenching line of like, even if you kill your attacker, he'll still win because you'll still stick with that.
And Martin killed his attacker, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Plover?
No, because they found Plover later.
Tortured him.
Oh,
He tortured him. He didn't kill him.
Yes,
He made him
that's
suffer,
true.
though.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. So, tempted to the dark side. I mean, we'll talk about that in predictions. But, so the squad
True, you are stronger with the Force.
You know.
They finally find the castle, and we get to meet the Pickwick family. A little
So
bit. Yeah, so nice to meet you.
Adorable.
So the caretakers. Yeah, I love that you just right away are like, we have some things we need to get done. I said royal things.
I like that the first
We
thing
have
was
some
the throne
issues.
room and trying to find the key, and not
Yes.
like, we have enemies to the north and south. It's like, wait, we're going to get you in your throne room, don't worry. So funny.
Yeah.
You can't. Yeah, exactly. You gotta get him. You gotta get him settled in first before I
give
can
him a
start.
minute,
Before I can
right?
start fixing the infrastructure.
Making him work so hard right away.
Oh, just wait.
Were there any in terms of like your wardrobe or anything? Were there a lot of options, or had they kind of settled on that look pretty early on?
Wardrobe fitting was the craziest wardrobe fitting I've
Really?
ever been
Oh,
to.
yeah?
Why is that?
She's the designer. She's amazing, and she says the name of the character so much. She said Teak Peekweek. It's amazing. But I was there for
Aw.
2 sessions that were both an hour long, which I've never, and it was for one outfit.
Right.
Wow.
Wow.
And basically just she just started putting fabrics on and just
Mm.
and then just taking photos and like putting other just putting things on, and then I show up to set and there's this thing that didn't look like anything I had tried on, right? It's like just pieces of stuff. But yeah, I don't know how yours was, but it was kind of insane.
No, it was fun. It was fun. It wasn't like that.
No.
It was fun. She's amazing. She's very creative and yeah.
I was definitely surprised at how fast the transition of power seemed to be. Everybody's like, oh no, it's just fine. I'm like, that's not going to last.
I thought it was interesting that the castle was still like running at full power of people and stuff going on, as
There's
if
definitely
it didn't
something
matter that
suspect
no one was
happening
there.
in
Keep
this
moving.
castle.
Yeah.
I don't trust it.
Yes. And then we see the empty armory, and or nearly. How were the sets like of seeing those spaces? Did you really feel like you were in it, or like what?
It is. I keep using this word again because that's what it felt like. It's just amazing. The set itself, the throne room, all this, They did a really good job.
Sure.
Yeah.
Are they like
Like-
true to size? I know a lot of times, like I'll step on a set, and be like, this is so much smaller than I thought it was.
Yeah.
It's huge. It was huge. It was kind of, and it's very hard to shoot in that kind of a space, you know, like because first of all you have all these people and you have, there's like fires burning and there's it's just
Imagine the
it was kind of-
orgies.
it was and the orgies,
And the orgies.
very intricate. So
Orgies.
kudos to all the people who put that together.
Nice. But their armory, they gotta go to Break Bills because there's no book. But turn around, Break Bills.
The little
cover of it.
workbook.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they're like, great, a cookbook that doesn't tell me how to make it, just notes on how it is afterwards.
Yeah.
Was anybody surprised by like, oh wait, why would Break Bills have some of this
No, not at
information?
all.
No.
Break Bill's got the fountain that got them there, and everything is just goes right back to
Yes.
Break Bills.
I
I
feel
was
like-
like, well, good.
I feel like at this point in the episode, I had forgotten about Rainbows completely. We were so immersed in Fillory.
Bacon.
I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot.
Yeah.
That's where we all
And
started
see,
this
I was
bullshit.
wondering how long they were going to stay in Fillory as opposed to going back, because we know the
Right.
time thing.
Yep.
So I'm kind of glad that they didn't bury the lead. I'm kind of glad they were like, let's just jump back, get there, and we'll come back.
Yes.
It also kind of ties into, Martin's sister. Her name? Jane. And
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
a lot of the stuff they got from Fillory comes from Jane.
Oh yeah, that's
Comes
true.
from her having that connection and bringing it back to them.
Right.
So that would make sense that they would
She's the
end up having to go
ambassador.
all the way back. Yeah.
There you go.
Okay, that makes
R.I.P.
sense. Totally. And then we have Penny still having trouble, and that's the
He's got a whole idle hand situation going on.
actions have consequences. Which that's like a foreshadowing. Okay,
This
so
dude, this con man's my favorite.
Yeah.
That dude's my jam.
I was like, he's gonna be quintessential to the line. Like I'm really excited to see. And what do you have planned for Penny? He's like not. He says something prophetic to Penny, like especially for the role you have to come.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And so I'm like wondering. I'm like, oh, what's Penny do? Because he ain't a king.
It almost seems
Right.
like everyone in Fillory already knows everything that they're going to do, and they're all just kind of screwed. Because everyone has already lived it, and everyone in Fillory has a memory of it, and so they're going in blind. But everyone else kind of has an idea, so they can kind of turn it to their will, which kind of sucks.
So, we had someone in the chat. We were talking about the transition of power, and they said apparently that's where the Pickwick family comes in, of like making things run smoothly. Would you say that's the case? Of
That's theoretically what the before they want everyone dead.
It all goes back to that one.
It goes back to that.
But Coach's Me says, let's not forget that Brick Bills had a time machine.
Yeah.
They had the charmed items that could take you back to a specific place in time.
Yeah, they had the time machine. They sit on the bench, and they went back to the 1940s.
no, because they had the typewriter. That's how they were able to go back in time. You had to have an object from that
it's
time
a charmed
period.
object that takes
It
you
wasn't
directly
like
back.
a machine. It was like this cup is from
Machine
a
per se.
specific.
Yeah. I remember
place
the
and
typewriter
time
was
and
meant to
touch
go
it.
back and kill
Yeah.
Hitler, but they didn't realize that there was a magical wizard.
Yeah.
Greatest storyline ever.
Because then they had to look at the items,
So
and that's
much
how they
is
found the
coming back to
typewriter.
me.
Oh, what about the oh god, my brain.
But they're sitting on
light
the bench.
bulb, it was like a thing that was like a little light bulb, and it lit up as they were touching it, and then all of a sudden they were back in the 1940s. Am I crazy? I'm not crazy. I know what I'm talking about.
I vaguely remember this light bulb, but I don't remember it being a
Because
time
they
travel
go back
thing.
in time twice.
No, they went to the house where they had the ghost there, and they were running around,
Yes.
Yeah,
kind of
that's
living in the
different.
past.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they also went. The typewriter is how Julia and Quentin went back. That's how they
I'll
went,
have
and
to
then
go
they
back
followed
and
James.
review season
Guys,
one.
if you can tell me
It's-
exactly what this time machine is, I would really appreciate
Get
it.
on it.
It's my head hurts now.
Want detailed
If you
note.
want to get your friends caught up, Magicians is on Netflix. So
It
they can
is.
binge watch and
Cram
get
it.
caught up.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Okay, so we need to wrap up. But the last little bits, we have Elliot has to stay behind because he's not allowed to leave Fillory.
Yeah.
Oh, so sad. And he has his line of like constantly has to take one for the team, and he has this moment with Quentin and the hugs and
Man.
like grab my buns.
It's kind
Squeeze his
of nice
butt.
to see them as
Yeah.
actual friends now. Like
Yeah.
since they've all died or nearly died, like they're real friends now.
Exactly.
And I feel like they've actually
Yes.
bonded, which is
Brings
great.
you together.
Yeah,
Yes.
and it's cool to like.
And threesomes bring you.
Yeah,
I mean, there's also that.
Also that.
We can't forget about that.
They kind of moved past that a little bit too,
Yeah.
because Alice is a little bit over it now in a way, because Quentin
Yeah.
apologized.
But Elliot doesn't really get these super genuine moments that often. They're
No.
sprinkled here and there, and I don't know if we've ever. We get ones with Quentin, but they're like sad, real, like genuine moments.
Right,
Like,
I
where he
think
gives them really bad information.
all of his moments of vulnerability that we saw in season one were in regards to Margot and his relationship with
Yes.
Margot. So now getting to see this dynamic and seeing him
and he's
kind of like have an actual friend, you know,
Yeah.
like granted he had another person he's had relations with,
Yes. But I also like.
But
I guess
him
I
and
gotta
Margot
use my
are
point.
better
Never mind.
together now too, because he has a moment with her. He's like, "I'm glad we're better now." So
Yeah.
it's great.
Sure.
But someone brought up in the chat. Oh yes, Champagne King. Oh my gosh,
Good
yes,
Lord,
bring
what
champagne.
a dope title.
I
Oh.
look forward to the mixtape Champagne King. Like,
Champagne
whichever
King.
rapper decides to take that and just run with
Champagne
it, I'm
King
there for
is
it.
fire.
But as someone brought up in the chat room, and we were gonna get to, is time in Fillory. We know works different.
Patrick
from
Nelson brought
going
that
out
up.
and going in. So the problem is, you could go out for like 5 minutes and it be 5 years when you come back to Fillory. And Elliot saying goodbye to Quentin could almost mean I might never see you again.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'll see him again.
I don't think that's
He
gonna
just
happen.
might
I know,
be
but-
10 years older.
yes.
Like,
I don't,
Even 5
You
years
never
would be
know.
no big deal.
You never know.
Almost.
Yeah.
It'll
What
be
if
interesting
Quentin
to-
gets trapped on the other side?
I have a feeling that when they get to break bills, they're gonna figure it out. Like either somebody will be like, "Okay, go back at this time," or like, "This is how." I don't know.
They're
Right.
going to Doctor Who it up.
Yeah.
And still mess
Yeah.
it up.
Yeah.
Alice, I feel like we've got like a little bit of a Deus Ex Machina in Alice. Like, I feel like
This is also
Some-
definitely.
Oh,
some
she
of the
maybe
stuff
can
that
do
we're
it.
gonna go up against, she's gonna turn right back around.
Well, can she
Sarah's
also
enjoyed
take
it.
that power out of Fillory too? I mean, I would think she could, but
Oh,
is
do you
it
mean does she get her
limited?
godlike
yeah,
powers when she comes back
because-
to IRL world?
Because
Interesting.
Julia has the power now, even though she's no longer
That's
in
true.
Fillory.
Yeah, she
And
was
she got
infected.
the power when she wasn't in Fillory.
And I mean, we already covered Julia of like help with the shade and like, do you want to erase the pain? So that was kind of it with her. So, oh my gosh, that covers it. Let's do some really quick predictions.
Lightning fast predictions.
You guys aren't allowed to say any because you
Yeah,
kind of
'cause
know.
I just wanna
see what you guys say.
Theremin.
If you wanted to just throw
gonna
some
say.
red herrings in though, like I'd be about it.
How good is your poker face? You, know?
You got it. He wants everyone dead.
Anything right away? Anybody has anything burning?
Burning. It's so hard with this show. I think that when her godlike powers go out, there will be some ramifications for that. I feel like
Okay.
power is really addictive, and even though we haven't really seen that that side of her yet, now that like her whole life she's been like mastering magic, like.
Yes.
And she's like a prodigy at it, and now she's like a godlike prodigy at it. And so I think when she goes back down to just being a prodigy, I think she's gonna have to either try to figure out how to get it back or
Right.
deal with just not having it anymore.
Yeah. Okay.
Interesting.
I think they'll be able to come back and it not be too much time passed for Elliot. I don't know how. I think they'll maybe figure out something magic-wise. I really hope Katie comes back into the mix. I'm not really...
Oh yeah.
She got away because Julia, like, sadly had her own issues.
Yeah.
So, but Katie got away. So I hope she's able to come back into the mix. Or how she might bump into Julia again. Like, maybe we'll have a little bit of that.
Oh my god.
So, that's only kind of a quick one.
I'm just hoping we get more scenes between Penny and the con man of the river. Like,
That's
if
gotta
we can
happen.
get more of that dynamic. I also think at some point we're gonna see a little bit more trustworthiness from the Beast.
Okay.
Not much.
Okay, wow,
Not
you
much.
have so much
I-
faith.
Not much.
So much
But
faith.
I think I mean, obviously we're seeing a little bit, you know, we have to kind of, Julia has to work with him in order to track down Renard. I think we're going to see shit go down between Renard and Martin
Yes,
for sure.
please.
So, lesser of two evils. Sure.
Anything?
Which one is worse? I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
I
know.
really couldn't say, but I bet that showdown is dope as hell.
Oh, for
Yeah.
sure.
I think, well, in terms of Alice, I think she's. I'm curious to see how they're going to play with this whole idea of the god juice.
Right.
And I mean that's their words.
Yeah.
It's about as diplomatic as you can
Yeah,
put it.
totally.
So, but because you see, like with Julia, she still seems to have it for a very long time, like a much longer time than it seems like Alice will have it. So, how does that factor into like the way she
Well, it's how
got the
they
god
got
power?
it, yeah.
And is it something that she's gonna be like having a god baby, or is that something that they're gonna end up making out of it? So I'm curious to see what they're gonna do with that in terms of their experience in Break Bills and Renard. I think they do a really good job of always tying everything back.
Yeah.
So it always circles back. They're always gonna. Julia's probably gonna need something from Fillory, and that'll connect to Break Bills. And so I'm curious to see just how they play with that, and also how they play with time with Break Bills and Fillory.
Awesome. Guys, that wraps up.
Yeah.
Oh man, season 1,
we did it.
season 2, episode 1 of The Magicians. Big thank you to our special
Thank you so
guest.
much.
Yeah.
And let people know where they can find you online.
Instagram at Rizwan Manji. Should I spell it?
Sure.
RIZWANMANJI.
If you're watching the video stream, it'll be right
Oh, good.
right underneath you.
But if you're listening,
Yeah.
If you're listening on iTunes, write it down, then watch us on YouTube.
yes.
And Instagram and Twitter at Osuna Sergio, Osuna _ Sergio, Osuna OSUNA _ Sergio.
Cool. We look forward
There
to
you
your
go.
episode. And let's go around the table.
All right. I'm Adrian Snow. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Miss Adrian Snow.
You can catch me on all forms of social media at Ty Matthews PMA.
I'm Joelle. You can find me all over the internet at Joelle Monique every week at blackgirlnerds.com. You can head over to Schmoes Know and see my episode earlier from this evening and Book Circle Online where we talk about which is the best Robin. And I do other shows, but I can't remember. Oh,
There you
check
go.
These Ladies Did Incorporated earlier. If you missed it today, go check that out. They were wonderful.
Get it.
Oh, thank you. And my name is Kari Lane. You can find me online at Kari D Lane. That's Karidlane. And quick shout out to Paper Ronnie for this awesome scarf. You should check out their stuff on Instagram. Beautiful stuff. And again, thank you so much for watching. Give us a thumbs up, 5 stars on iTunes, and tune in next week as we cover episode 2. Yay! See ya.
Thank you, chat.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.